Tim Sanders here with a message about how to look at the recession strategically. I've been talking to a lot of you over the last few weeks about 2023. You talked to me about the recession, economic headwinds, and you talk about hunkering down to weather the storm. You've frozen your cost across the board. You've frozen hiring. The research says that is not how you win a recession. Bain Research took a look at the Great Recession of 2008, studying thousands of companies just like yours, and they found that the winners of a recession see it differently. They see a recession as a sharp curve in a racetrack. You strategically break into it, you lean into the apex of the curve, you power your way out of the curve onto the straightaway. What does that mean? You're aggressive about releasing new products while your competitors are cruising under the caution flag, implementing marketing programs that can help you steal mind and market share, and standing up improvements such as digital transformation. They studied these winners that had this capability, this courage, if you will, and they weren't just stronger during the Great Recession or even for a couple of years afterwards. They were stronger for years and years to come. McKinsey replicates the same research a year later. They come up with the same conclusion. Instead of winners, they call them resilience. And as you can see, they perform for years to come, outperforming the stock market. Now, how do they do all of this? Well, first of all, they don't find the money for this by making across-the-board cuts, because you end up cutting your capacity more than you cut your costs. Instead of looking at the P&L, the researchers say they looked at the balance sheet to really think about things through the lens of assets, liabilities, and shareholder-stakeholder equity. They defund what is not working, and they put money into the development or the acceleration of new assets. The other thing these winners do is they leverage optionality in their approach. In other words, instead of acquiring, they access solutions. So for example, a lot of the winners of the 2008 recession leveraged cloud computing. Why? Because it gave them optionality in all of their technology. Many examples exist. Netflix leveraged cloud as an early adopter to turn on video on demand and grow dramatically for the years to come. Pfizer leveraged cloud to speed up research and go to market. That worked wonderfully for them years later during COVID with the vaccine. Microsoft transformed their entire enterprise into cloud first. And this can work for you. What you've got to ask yourself is, where can I find more optionality? Now, many of you might say, we've already adopted cloud computing, and that's true. But think about payroll and talent and how you delivered the work. That's a place where you're operating under this mindset of acquire the talent, or, as many of you are doing, lay them off. And that is a very either-or approach, which is not about optionality. I want you to consider on-demand talent as maybe the game-changing play for the recession of 2023. Here's my favorite story to illustrate this point. In the depths of the dot-com crash towards the end of 2000, Steve Jobs, always the thinker, had a vision. His vision was based on an observation that MP3 players at the time were either small and useless or large and clunky. He thought, what if we could bring all of Apple design to bear to develop a beautiful, highly functional music device that could help people eventually carry around their entire music collection. Now, at the time, Sony Walkman was the empire for mobile music. I'm sure all of you that had mobile music had a Walkman in 2000 and 2001 when Jobs was hatching this idea. So at the beginning of 2001, thinking that Sony would be under the caution flag because it was a deep recession, Jobs leaped into action. Now, in early 2001, they weren't hiring. They had to manage optics around CapEx and headcount with Wall Street. He couldn't take his existing engineers off iMac updates. So what does Steve Jobs do? He leverages optionality in how he resourced the work. He reached out to former startup leader Tony Fadell and hired him as a contractor, along with some of Tony's friends, including ex-engineers from General Magic, and this scrappy contractor team was given less than 10 months to get this product from concept to market. It was called the P36. Then Steve Jobs hired a freelancer named Vinny Chieco to help him package the concept. Vinny came up with a really cool name for it, the iPod, based on Space Odyssey 2001, that famous scene, Hal opened the pod doors, which inspired Jobs to think about the pod, the ecosystem, the big idea, the big play. October 23, 2001, just a month and change after 9/11, in the depths of the dot-com crash, Apple launches the iPod and Sony blinks. They do nothing in response. They give Apple years of a head start, and Apple launches the iTunes. It's game over. Today, Apple is one of the richest companies in the world, but in 2001, they were a challenger in the PC industry, and this can work for you.